Welcome to the Staffing and Supervision module of the Supervisor in Training program. Remember that you can rewind this video at any time should you need further clarification. One of your roles as a supervisor is to provide support to all your officials, especially new ones. You can do this by developing a relationship, both personal and professional, and discussing your experience with officials, both as an intramural staff member and a student at the University of Minnesota. Many of our new officials are also new students to the university, so your support and guidance is necessary. It is also important that you are able to assist your officials in difficult situations, such as providing guidance for sportsmanship ratings, as well as dealing with unruly participants and/or spectators. Lastly, you should be assigning officials to games to ensure that crews are mixed up on a week-to-week basis and that the crews are appropriate for the level of competition of the games. Official and team dynamic is very important when choosing which officials will work together. Throughout each season, you'll be tasked with evaluating your officials both formally and informally. It is important that you understand and can communicate the purpose of these evaluations to your officials. The purpose of such evaluations are to create an opportunity for dialogue between the supervisor and the officials to ensure the officials feel comfortable asking for support from their supervisor. Additionally, it is important to emphasize a culture of development that we will continue to improve throughout our time as an official. Lastly, we will reinforce expectations and recognize achievement in order to mitigate the loss of sports officials. When developing officials, it is important that we provide feedback each and every shift, throughout each shift, and not just at the end. This will instill that culture of development to ensure officials understand that we are always improving. When providing negatives, it is important to be tactful and surround those negatives by positive aspects of each official's game. We do not want to discourage our officials from improving. And lastly, always end on a positive note such as "great work tonight" or "see you next week." Verbal evaluation should be conducted every shift and as much as possible, and they should focus on one or two things to improve on with examples. Examples are key to ensuring your own credibility, so officials understand that you were paying attention to the game and have the knowledge to evaluate them. Additionally, don't be afraid to walk the court and field with officials when necessary to point out positioning and mechanics issues. Lastly, with verbal evaluations, it is important that we focus on the big ones that are affecting the whole crew. Verbal evaluations should be more team-focused, and written evaluations should be more individual-focused. As said before, written evaluations should be more individual-focused. But just like verbal evaluations, it is important to be specific and cite examples. Once you have written up evaluation, please discuss the feedback with your officials ahead of time. This way, when they receive the email, they will understand what each example is referring to. Lastly, think about which really helps each official, notes or ratings. With the new official, notes are going to be much more important than ratings will, so you could even ignore the ratings section and just focus on the notes. With a more veteran official, the ratings may help as they understand which are more important to their game. Officials are paid for the duration of their scheduled shift, and they may not clock in early. However, officials may clock out late so long as games have ran long due to injury, accident, or other facility issues. It is important as a supervisor that you note the reason for a late clock out on the supervisor report. Officials may not play during their scheduled shift or in defaults. However, if there are enough officials and the official wants to clock out to play in a game, they may do so. Officials should contact you as a supervisor ahead of time to inform you that they would like to do this. If they do not contact you ahead of time, you have At the end of each shift, you should dismiss all officials and tell them what time they are paid till. You want to make sure that the time they are reporting match the time that you are entering on the supervisor report. Remember, no one is paid for defaults or forfeits at the end of the shift. Time cards are completed online at MyU, And you must remember to use PM for all hours, as intramurals does not have AM hours on site. As a supervisor, it is your responsibility to discipline officials at times. In many cases, a verbal warning will suffice so long as you also notify the office that a verbal warning has been issued. However, there may be times when you need to write up an employee for various reasons. In some cases, it's for repeated offenses, and in some cases, it's for egregious offenses that may occur. In either case, remember to be complete with your employee discipline form and inform the employee why they are being disciplined. This is the end of the Staffing and Supervision module. Please remember to read and write a 2-page response to the David Gaskins article on Canvas.